Back everyone once again for a roster review. We've got another guildmate now. We got Frank to look at. Frank's doing pretty well. He's doing pretty well for himself. He made Kyber this last GC. He's also approaching 500,000 lifetime banner points. That's a lot. He's doing very, very well for himself. His roster is a little bit different than mine. He has gone the light side path, whereas I went the dark side path. But the things that we're going to be looking at today don't particularly pertain to that. First things first, like always, I've been going through his GAC history and looking at a few things that we could maybe change. First thing we need to change, and Frank, you need to change this ASAP, is you're still currently leaving Old Republic on defense. This team shouldn't be left by anyone. Like, unless you've got maybe like really high relic Zalbar and Mission, this team is you're just handing your opponent 61 plus banners. It's so easy to take down, and it's so easy to take down full banners. It's going to be sold by like everything. It's got to stop going down. Literally anything else will be better. I think you're working on Jedi Master Luke right now. So I would really just consider putting down like a group of Rebel fighters. Some of them do need to be worked on. Actually, all of them need to be worked on to an extent to get that down. But there's just got to be something better you can use. Maybe even a kind of a bootleg resistance team. Like a secondary resistance team that isn't that good, led by Finn or something. It's not going to hold, but maybe your opponent will get 58 or 57 banners versus like 64. So yeah, that team needs to go. Another thing, just be careful about, you're overkilling a lot of stuff with Rebels. Like, I saw you take multiple battles where you took your Lando Calrissian in with the rest of your Rebels, and that just really wasn't necessary. Like, I know when we have relic characters, we have the temptation that we feel like we need to use them, or we need to mod them, or we need to do something. Lando Calrissian is not one of those characters you need to do that. Like, he can ride the bench for the rest of eternity. That's what I've been doing with mine, and I think you could very well do with yours. You're just losing a banner by putting him in there. But yeah, as far as JC, that's pretty much it. You've been doing pretty well. I like that you have been mirror matching the Geo Rays. It's a very good strategy. It's very good for very high banners. There's also been just some really smart theory crafting in there as well. But now coming down to your roster, you asked specifically for a few different teams to be looked at. So let's go ahead and get started on those. The first one is going to be Sith, specifically the Sith Triumvirate and Vader. Vader, you're on the right track. You're on the right track. You still need a little bit more to be there. I did check. You do have Pierre and his Zeta. With that being said, the two most important stats for Vader, if you're using him under Empire with Pierre and maybe Emperor Palpatine, is he needs to have speed and he needs to have crit chance. And you're falling short on both by a little bit. You've got him mostly modded for crit damage. It's good, but here's the problem. When your crit chance is only 65%, and then you add that in with the 25%, there is still a 10% room margin for error. And what this means for you is this means that you might win or you might lose. And I don't like that uncertainty. Personally, I would rather switch this out for a crit chance. For a crit chance mod, and know that whatever you're going against, you're at least going to crit, and then you can calculate the damage from there to see if it's actually going to be a win or it's actually going to be a loss. Because when you're in this limbo of maybe, it becomes risky every single time you use them, and I don't like that. So that would be my recommendation specifically for him. If you could get just faster secondaries, that would also be great. Vader's base speed is not that large, so secondary speeds would be great. I personally have a speed set on him, but if you want to keep this crit damage set, that's not the end of the world. Overall, everything else is kind of good. Like, you've got some decent offense on him, you've got some decent potency on him. But like I said, it's got to be crit chance and it's got to be speed. I think this mod was actually really stellar. Yeah, that's a really good mod. That needs to stay on him. All crit chance and all speed. Very, very nice. Actually, I think it's got potency. No, okay, it's tenacity. But either way, he's on the right track. He just needs more crit chance and more speed. Next up, this is where the fun is going to begin. There's going to be a little bit of shaming involved with these next three. So we've got Treya. Treya's team, regardless of who you use it against, it's going to revolve around health. They need lots of health to really get going. One good thing you do have is you have a crit avoidance there. That's awesome. It even has some speed on it, which is even better. That's very good. But you really don't need a speed set on her. Like, you can go with a health set and just try to make her really tanky when it comes to health so that she can take this. And this is the big problem here, Frank. You've got her loaded up for protection. What's going to happen is she's going to take some hits, she's going to lose her protection, and then it's never going to come back. And then even if the spy you're fighting is gear 11 or gear 12, he's going to one-shot her. he's gonna one-shot her from that 30k health. Like that's just not enough to take a hit there. So she's gotta have more health. Speed isn't bad. But I would really go for health and even defense. Defense sets wouldn't be terrible either. Not the primaries, but the sets. But overall, like these, she could be a little bit better. She could be a lot healthier. Nihilus is pretty much the same situation. For some reason, you have a potency set on him. There's nothing in Nihilus's kit where potency is important. This is based off of whether or not they're debuffed, or it's just a 50% chance. Like this can't be resisted. So let's go ahead and get rid of that potency set. Although I guess they actually do have really good speeds. Maybe you weren't in it for the set, because they actually do have pretty good speeds. But again, Nihilus, he's going to be pretty similar to Treya in the sense that you really want to rack up his health. Speed isn't bad. Potency doesn't really do anything. Because the way his kit works, when the other two keep getting debuffed, I believe, Nihilus just keeps getting tankier and tankier into his max health. Yeah, whenever Darth Treya dies Thunder inflicted with the debuff, he gains 30% max health, which is ridiculous. Just completely ridiculous. So load up his max health, get him speedy, and make him tanky. So, doesn't need the potency, and then Scion Dude. Again, we've got kind of a weird set here. Like, you have 2 crit damage mods. These aren't doing anything. Like, these are just kind of sitting here. I don't know, maybe if you're going for the primaries or what. But same thing, dude. Your Scion is not tanky at all. As soon as that protection goes down, that 60k, Gear 11 or Gear 12 Spy is going to just one-shot. You're just going to yeet your Scion right out of there. Like, you need to have him modded for a lot more health. I would advise a crit chance, or not a crit chance, a crit avoidance arrow on him, succeed. That combined with Treya's later should be enough to avoid the crits. But even then, like, a Gear 12 Spy will crit for less or more than your health is if he doesn't crit. So get these to health, get them to be primaries, and then the faster you can get them, the better. But like this crit chance, that's not doing anything for you. Protection, health, succeed will be better. Health, succeed will be better too. I do like him pretty fast. I like him to be faster so that he can get out in front. But 240, you're not getting out in front of anyone's Geonosian Brute Alpha. So if you can't get out in front, you need to be able to tank the hits when they come. So yeah, pretty much. Long story short, more health on your Sith Triumphant. So that's going to be them. You had also asked about Night Sisters. Night Sisters is actually going to be a little similar. And here's the thing, dude. I think their gear needs to go up, actually. If you really want to use Night Sisters, you really need to invest in Relic Daka and some other things, because this is just trooper bait right here. Like, any one of these, especially Zombie being Gear 11... That's just trooper bait. Someone's going to take in their mediocre troopers, especially with Sith Eternal Empire or Emperor out right now. This is an easy 60 banners. It's such an easy 60 banner. So I don't know if you want to start investing better mods into these guys if you're not going to also gear them up, because that's kind of the situation I'm in right now. I'm choosing not to gear them up, so I'm just not going to invest better mods in them. Like Mother Talisman over here, let's go ahead and look at her. It's actually not bad. Again, the idea that you need health on these characters, not protection, because they have no protection recovery. She could use more health. She could use more speed. Her potency is pretty solid. Defense sets doesn't really do much for her. It's not terrible. There are worse mods to have. But I think her potency is honestly enough. I would just make her healthier and try to get her tankier that way. Saj. Your Saj is actually looking pretty good, other than the matching set here, which I'm guessing because both those are almost plus 15. She doesn't need a lot of speed. She also doesn't really need a lot of survivability. This is kind of the way that she functions. She's got a lot of crit damage. That's good. Offense. Offense could be a lot higher. Like, yeah, you got a... potency isn't terrible on her, actually, because she can stun, and she has defense down. So that's not terrible. But a lot of these mods, like this mod has like 5 speed and it's mostly tenacity. She doesn't need tenacity. That's not really how her kit functions. Or this one, it's got protection. It does have percent offense, but it needs to be 60 if you're going to really benefit from that. Second is actually pretty good for her. I would prefer more percent offense as well, though. No percent offense here as well, I believe. Oh, you do have a little. You have a very small mod. That's actually not a terrible mod all around. And yeah, that one's actually not terrible either. So some of these you should probably take to 60. She's actually pretty close to being good. Old Daka, I would like to say you should just get her pure health. That is normally what people tend to do. But at Gear 12, I have a Gear 12 Daka for reference. They just don't hold up. Like if you look at her base health, it's like 20k. I mean, you can put you can load her up with a health primary, a health primary, a health primary, and a health primary here. She's still going to get one shot. Gear 12 Doctor just really isn't that great. So I think your potency here is kind of just fine. I would try to trade this out. Crit chance is not really doing anything for her. And some people do like to put crit avoidance on her. But again, like a Gear 12 Doc is a Gear 12 Doc. She's only going to survive so much. It just depends on what you're trying to go after. But ultimately, if you're going to put health primaries on her, they need to be 68 so that you get the full 16% out of them. And then we go over to Zombie. Zombie's got a lot of blue mods. And you're kind of going in the right direction here. Speed and defense, these sets they are the proper sets. That is very good. But the secondaries on them just aren't that great. Like this one has 3 speed. Like you're really not getting anything out of there. Like I would definitely look for almost entirely new mods on her, because when you look at these subpar mods, they end up for subpar totals. And again, her health is also really, really small. It's going to make her really easy to kill multiple times and pretty much just make her useless. So yeah, go for health and go from there. Pretty similar to Treya, but again, there is the big there's the big caveat with this, or catch-22. There's no point in god modding them if they're all going to stay Gear 11 or Gear 10. Actually, I guess it's just Gear 11. All right, and last but not least, moving on to Bounty Hunters. Your Bounty Hunters are actually in a pretty good place. We're going to be looking at, I believe, the main 5 you have running, which is the 3 Mando helmets, Grief, and Bosk. You're on the right track here. You're on the right track here for Bosk. You need more tenacity than you do defense. The way Bosk kit works is that he gives bonus defense whenever they still have protection, I believe. Is that right? They have defense at full health. So while they still have protection, they'll still have full health and they'll have extra defense. So it's better for you to invest in tenacity and just protection overall than this. But you're on the right track. Like, he's got 250 speed, which for a Gear 12 boss with no right side pieces is pretty good. I mean, you could, if you have the mods to make him faster and to make him more tenacious, do it. Speed actually is the priority on him, though. His speed is more important than his tenacity or his protection. If he can't get his taunt out in the beginning, what's the point? Like, there's no point in him. Django's got it going on. He's pretty much exactly where he needs to be. You can make him a little faster. I do like him on it for crit damage. He hits really, really hard. Even at Gear 12, he will hit really, really hard. That being said, what you want to do with bounty hunters, particularly under boss lead, is you want to get them as close to boss health as possible. Like in a perfect world, your boss would be 257, your Django would be 256, your Boba would be 254, we'll get to him in a second, and Mando and Grief and so on and so forth. That way that you can go right immediately, you can target whoever you need to, and Frenzy will give everyone a turn, or will continually give boss turns, and you can do a double mass assist, and you can get the contract off immediately, and you can annihilate someone immediately. That is the ideal. You want all their speeds to be roughly the same. Higher would be better, but his damage output is good. We don't need to look at Django much more. Here, you've got some conflicting mod stats. Like, you've got offense and crit damage, but at the same time, you've got speed. It's a little conflicting. As long as you're using an under-geared Mando, and I don't know how long it's going to continue, maybe for a while, because he's currently Gear 11, I would just suggest speed and protection on him, and maybe some crit chance as well. Because the whole point of Mando, especially under a boss lead, is to get to the disintegration. If you can get to the disintegration, just snipe someone out immediately, it doesn't matter how much offense you have. It doesn't matter how much crit damage you have. Just getting around and making sure that you get enough turns to be able to do that is what's most important. So maybe protection here as well, and just get maybe some faster mods on him. But that would be my recommendation for now until you decide to relic him if and when that happens. Then you really want to have a pretty big, strong focus on crit chance and crit damage, because then he will start just doing work without his contract entirely. Boba's kind of a sad case. I don't really know what's going on here. He's really slow, like 60 speed. That's really, really slow. Not a lot of protection. He's got some potency, and he's got mostly offense. Boba is almost, when you have a team with someone who has an Annihilate like Mando, and someone who does such incredible damage like Django, you really need Boba to be more of the facilitator, in the sense that he's going to get up and he's going to ability block the entire team. He's going to be the one to apply healing immunity. There's a lot of stuff that he can do that you really want to benefit from when you have other people to do the damage. So I would look more so for potency sets, or maybe even speed sets, or whatever combination that you can get. But you've got some good mods up here that should be sliced. Like this mod should be sliced again. Like the crit chance set mod and the what you got to hit or what you got to roll with speed and crit chance. That one can be rolled again easily. This one honestly can't be too. Like health and speed are some of the best stats in the game on a blue mod. Like I would roll those. But ultimately, yeah, I would try to move around to some other mods. I think you had, yeah, like this mod doesn't even have speed on it. Like nothing. That needs to be changed out. He's not going to get anywhere. There's no point in ability blocking the entire team if they've already moved and they're already on basics. So he needs to be able to get out front. Grieve is actually, it's kind of the same situation. You don't have any speed here. Like, he doesn't need to have that much survivability. Protection will be nice, but he stays stealth for a long period of time, and that is incredibly helpful. So I would just make him a lot faster. Like, pour it all into speed. That's really the only thing he needs while he's stealth. You could go for protection if you have anything extra. But like these mods, like this needs to be sold. This is not doing anything for you. But that's going to be pretty much about it, Frank. Get them all around the same speed, and you'd be surprised what you can beat them with. But that's going to be it. Remember for Grand Arena, next time, take Karth off of defense. Find something else that at least is going to take a banner or two away. Leave Lando on the bench. And look for health mods for pretty much all your characters, dude. That's going to be it for today. Thanks for watching, everyone. And as always, stay awesome.